Good morning. Good morning and welcome to Cat Lady Yoga. My name is Regina. This is Snuggles. Phoebe is walking along right behind me. Welcome to Yin. And we are going to begin our class today on our mats in what we call child's pose. So I will step back and demonstrate the pose for you. We'll be holding that first pose for 5 minutes. And as you're in the pose, I'll be chatting with you about the benefits and ways to get the most out of your practice. So from here, we are taking the hips, pressing them back over the heels, lengthening the torso forward, bringing the forehead to rest. If that's available in your body, you can keep the torso on top of the legs, or you can walk the knees out wide and press the hips back. This will create a little space between the legs for the torso to settle into. Props are wonderful here, so you can bring a bolster, pillows, any kind of prop you might have. Slide it in close and bring the body down onto it. And once again, we want the forehead to have a place to rest. So bringing it down will be very advantageous. And as you can see real quick, Snuggles and Phoebe have decided to join us. And so as you come into this pose, settle in, find stillness, knowing that you want to go to a depth that allows you to feel a little stress on your joints, but not to feel sharp stabbing or burning pain. So if you ever have sharp stabbing or burning pain, you want to ease the body back up, readjust, and then come back into the pose if that's available to you. Mm-hmm. As you are in your pose, begin to guide awareness to your breath, feeling the fullness of each breath as it arrives in through your nostrils. Noticing the depth of the release on your exhalation. So really allowing the breath to rise and roll out through your nostrils. Feeling the sensations, noticing the breath, awakening to the body. Our breath is our life force energy. It is what sustains us. So if we are constantly breathing shallow through just the chest region, or even worse, just in the throat, we're not getting the oxygen that our bodies need, and really reducing the amount and the quality of energy that we will have. So breathing fully, taking the breath all the way down into the belly, letting the belly fully balloon and expand when the breath arrives. And then as you're ready to exhale, pressing the belly in, pulling it up, pressing all of the air back up and out. bodies are so full of wisdom. It's truly just a matter of us listening to our bodies to be able to see and hear, to understand exactly what our bodies are trying to communicate. So pay attention to the sensations, to the feelings. Be aware of what your body is experiencing. If you haven't already, begin to invite your intention into your practice. So this could be something that you want to cultivate more of in your life, such as peace, joy, stability, calm, health. And once you've figured out if there is something that comes to mind, then create a intention for your practice around that. And if you can, allow your intention to begin with I am. An example, I am at peace and fully rested. I am at peace and fully rested. And then you would create, once you've created that, you would repeat it 3 times. And if nothing comes to mind for you right now, feel free to use my example. I am at peace and fully rested. Our intentions can be physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, anything that our bodies and minds that we need. With yin, we hold our poses for time, allowing our bodies to get into the connective tissue. Our focus today is on the shoulders, arms, and wrists. This allows us to get into the heart and lung meridians. And for your last 5 breaths, if you'd like to bend your elbows and create a teepee over your head by bringing the palms toward one another, this will get deeper into the shoulders, into the arms, get into the triceps. So if you're using the prop, it might look something like this. I have a bandage on my nose, so I'm being really cautious about any pressure on it. I'm having had a little procedure a week ago. Remember, yoga is a matter of honoring our bodies, ahimsa, non-harm. So if something were, any pose we're in or that I'm offering doesn't feel right, this is not a time to think no pain, no gain. Let that thought process go when you're in the world of yoga and listen to your body. Honor your body. If there are ever sharp stabbing or burning pains, please ease your way out of the pose and find what will work for you. Feel free to adjust and modify so that the pose becomes your own and it's beneficial, not painful. After your 5th breath, remember to follow your breath. We all have different patterns, lengths of breath. Exhale, bring the arms back down. Slide the elbows in close to the body. Press softly into the hands and slowly begin to lift the torso. Remember, everything we do in yin, we move slowly. Yin is the opposite of our physical active lives. That's yang. So this is an opportunity to move through the body differently. Come into tabletop and allow the body to move organically. We want the shoulders over the wrist or behind the wrist if that's too intense for your wrist, and our hips over our knees. And we're going to spread our fingers, press through all of the knuckles and the palms. Soften the elbows as you inhale, lift the tailbone, ripple through the spine, push through the hands to re-lengthen the elbows, lengthen the spine, and bring the chin up any amount. Notice the shoulders. If they are hammocking and dropping the head, then we want to push into the arms, lengthen so that the shoulders are down away from the ears. On your exhale, soften the elbows again, tuck the tailbone round the spine, and push the earth away to fully come into cat pose. Each move of this pose begins with the breath and at the base of the spine. Elbows will soften each and every time you make that transition and re-lengthen as you find the extent of the pose for yourself. And one more time. Inhale, fully extend and open. And exhale, tuck and round. Inhale, come through neutral. On an exhale, move right shoulder toward right hip. Take the gaze down right leg. Inhale through center. Exhale, left side. Inhale to center and wiggle it out. Wiggle and roll through your torso, getting all of the kinks out. Extend right leg long behind you. Toes are tucked. Reach out through the heels. Start waking up the back of your leg. Bring the knee back in. Switch it out. So our bodies are full of connective tissue called fascia, from the soles of our feet to the crown of our head, and everything is interconnected. So as we stretch the soles of our feet, we're getting into connective tissue that travels all the way to the crown of the head. All right, we are going all the way down into heart melting pose. So walk the arms out, keep the hips stacked over the knees, melt the heart down, and forehead comes to rest. Now you can take the arms further out. Use props here if you have them, any kind of prop. You can be bolsters, blocks, rolled blankets, whatever will bring the floor up to you. I actually think I'm going to So our goal here is to get into our shoulders a little deeper. So we started with our child's pose, which begins to softly open into the shoulders, helps us to feel grounded and safe. Then we move into heart melting pose to get deeper into the shoulders, into the chest. And if at all possible, we want the forehead to have a place of rest, whether it's directly on the mat or on a prop of some kind. And it can be towels, folded, rolled towels, blankets, bolsters, blocks, anything you have. It could even be a therapeutic ball, such as this. Just take it into the forehead if that's what brings the floor to you. It makes the pose more available. And for your last five breaths, you might stay here or again create that TP by bending the elbows, bringing the hands to touch over the head, maybe even taking the thumbs to the back of the neck, to the back or to the upper back. Elbows are in close to the head, not out wide. After your fifth exhale, bringing the arms back down, slide them in close. Slowly lift the torso. Hey, snuggles. And we're moving into our wrists a little bit here. So I'm going to turn toward the camera so you can get a better view, and then I'll come back to my mat. You're still in your tabletop. You're turning the one hand over and then inching the body back, so you're getting a stretch on the front, top end of the wrist. And then we'll come, you can't see when Snuggles decides to take a little bath right there. Can you move for us, bud? Thank you. Move. I'll bring it out to the camera. So normally our hands would be like this on the earth. Turn it this way. And then you'll inch the body back so that it creates a deeper stretch through the top of the wrist. Then we will turn the hands back and we will turn the palms where the fingers toward our torso to get a deeper stretch through the bottom side of the wrist. And we'll wiggle through our fingers. We'll be tapping through and getting some movement just to get some release and stretch through that connective tissue of our wrist. And you do want to have a mat or your rug, something underneath you for this to keep it comfortable. So once again, we are turning the right wrist up, inching the hips back, wiggling through the fingers. And then tap thumb and index finger, release. Thumb and middle finger, release. Thumb with ring finger, release. Thumb and pinky, release. And all fingers to the thumb, stretch, stretch. And release. Good. Bring it back up, roll and shake the arm out. And switching sides. Turning the left palm up, inch the hips back. Wiggle through your fingers. Thumb to index. Thumb to ring to middle. Thumb to ring. And thumb to pinky. All fingers to the thumb. And release. And bringing the body forward, release the hand, roll through the wrist, wiggle the fingers, shake out the arm. Turning both hands so that the fingers are toward the knees. Your thumbs will be toward the outside. And then, most of us couldn't turn it inward, so you have to turn out. And then inching the hips back. That nice, delicious stretch on the inside of the wrist. Remember, we want shoulders down, so if they're crawling up, guide them back down. And ease the body forward, turn the hands back. Good, and shake them out. All right, we are taking the body down for Sphinx Pose. So with Sphinx, lengthen legs all the way back. I think I might want that. You can take a prop under your chest, under your ribs. And you're coming onto your forearms. Elbows under the shoulders. And then you can continue to press into the forearms, keeping the shoulders down, having a long neck with the chin moving forward. Taking your first 3 to 5 breaths here. You can take your prop more under your arms. That feels better instead of under the ribs. So find what feels good for you. But if it starts drawing the shoulders up and creating a crunch on the neck, you want to bring it back down. Options after those first 3 to 5 breaths. You can push into the arms more. Bring awareness to the base of the spine. As you inhale, lengthen. Draw the breath from the tailbone through the spine all the way to the crown. And bring the chin up. Now we want to, again, be mindful of our shoulders. We don't want to let them crawl up when we're extending. So keeping them guided down as if you were putting your shoulder blades in back pockets. And lifting through the chin. This might feel really nice. It opens the throat space. Other options, you can let the shoulders begin to hammock. Drop the chin. And let the head fall as if it was suspended on a hammock. So wherever you are, make sure you feel comfortably uncomfortable, right? We don't want any sharp stabbing or burning pain, but we do want to have some discomfort. And there's, each of our bodies are going to hold tension differently. So you may or may not feel it the same way as someone else. So just noticing what your body is experiencing and letting it be. See if you can let go of thinking and doing and come to a place of being and feeling. Be in this moment. Feel, notice the sensations within the body, within the mind, and within the heart. Sphinx Pose is very beneficial for our digestion as we put pressure on the abdomen. Creates a little stress through the low back. So it can help counter some of our daily activity and the pain that we may experience from those daily activities. Notice if perhaps your glutes have engaged, let them soften. You may stay as you are for your last 5 breaths, or if you'd like to take this into seal pose, the arms lengthen out toward the corners of your mat, or just at a diagonal from your torso. Press into the hands, anchor down into the tops of the legs. And here you do want to keep the neck long. Allow the jaw to be softly unhinged. The tongue soft on the floor of the mouth. And bringing the body down. Move your props. Lower the torso all the way. Stack your hands, and forehead comes to rest on your hands. Crocodile pose. Coming back to breath. And then gently lift the head. Guide the arms in close. Press into the hands to bring the torso up, slide it back, and you're bringing the body into child's pose for 5 breaths. So again, you can bring the legs together or take them out wide. Come down, 5 breaths, releasing the body. After your 5th breath, draw the body up slowly and come to have a seat. As you do, we're moving into our hips now. You might like to have some kind of a strap. This is just some fabric I've tied together. Pardon me, it can be anything. If you have a yoga strap, that would work. Grab something you might sit on to help tilt the pelvis. You can even use a towel instead of a strap. So let me show you from the side first. When we're in a seated posture, if we let the low back dump out as such, this draws the pelvis up. When we sit tall and then hinge just a bit forward, this will tip the pelvis back, and that's a safer place for our low back. When it dumps out, then it's not supported, the abdomen isn't supporting the back, and this leads to a lot of overstrain and time with pain. So sit up tall, bringing ears, shoulders, and hips in alignment, stack them, and then hinge from the hips. You can even shift the body around a little bit to make sure when you're on your sitting bones that you're tipping the pelvis forward. To take some of the guesswork out, just take a small prop or whatever prop size you need, and just take it right under the edge of your sitting bones. This will make sure that the pelvis tips forward. Moving into our butterfly first. So taking the soles of the feet toward each other. And you might want a little prop under the knees. So if you do, feel free to take that, making the pose more available. The heels do not have to be in close to the groin. So they can be if the body offers that. But if you need to, inch them out as far as you need to be able to be comfortable in your pose. And we will have the option to come into a forward fold. So I'm going to set up a few props to help bring the floor to me. Remember, our props are to bring the floor to us. That's what it's all about. So bringing in any combination of props that will do that for you is advantageous. So don't be shy about using props. In the world of yin, we want props. They are definitely a part of this practice. Inhale, sitting tall, open the arms wide, guide your right elbow under your left, stack, either intertwine, coming into eagle arms, or take hands to opposite shoulders. Guide the elbows away, and you might choose to stay here in whatever option you have, or after 3 to 5 breaths, exhale, hinge from hips to bring the body forward. Let me turn sideways again. I'm going to show you what that is, how I'm referring to that, right? What that looks like in the torso. So when you hinge from the hips, this is your movement. The common understanding and what I see often is people dropping over, rounding the spine. So they're moving from the waist versus the hips. And we want to move from the hips for this, keeping the spine long. You may keep the neck long or guide the chin toward the chest, depending what feels best in your body. Swirl the tongue around and let it release toward the floor of your mouth. Noticing the jaw, allowing it to be soft, not clenched. And your inward focus may rest at the center of your brows. Breathing fully, feeling the expansion through the ribs and the shoulders. Maybe you feel torso or belly as it presses out into your props. And a surrender with each breath out. And last 3 breaths. After that 3rd breath, inhale, bring the body up, unwind, reach out and shake the arms. Wiggle through the shoulders, and we'll switch sides. But before we do, we are moving into dragonfly. It's a wide leg straddle. So lengthen the legs first, give them a little movement. Actually, let's take it into caterpillar. Yes, I think that's a better option. So we'll be taking it into simply a seated forward fold. The feet can fall naturally. They don't have to stay flexed. And you can use a prop under the knees. So you can take a blanket or pillows, whatever you might have, whatever thickness you need under the knees. I think I'll use that today. That feels pretty good. And then bringing your props back in so that if you want that forward fold, you have your props in place. Switching arms, open wide, guide the opposite arm underneath, intertwine, or take hands to shoulders. Inhale, sit tall, move the elbows away from the torso. Exhale, forward fold. Remember your deep, full breaths. Noticing the sensations, the expansion. And allow the body to surrender. Last 3 deep, slow breaths. And after your 3rd breath, the inhale brings you up. Slowly unwind the arms and wiggle that out. All right. You need some attention this morning, huh, Snuggles? Yeah. We're talking to our friends today. Yeah. All right, ladies, gentlemen, we are moving into shoelace. So bring the legs in. Let me show you our options. So we'll start with right leg. You can keep left leg long, guide the right knee over, and you want the side of the foot on the earth, not the flat of the foot. So side of the foot. If this is too intense and you need a little help squaring up your hips, you can always take a prop of whatever height you need under that side of the foot. And this will help drop your right hip down. So if that right glute is popping up and won't settle, settle the hips will often happen when you take a prop under that leg. If it doesn't, if it's still hiked up, you can always take a blanket or whatever prop, whatever thickness you need, slide it under that glute to help provide stability. But what we want to avoid is having a misalignment in the hips. We want them to be squared as best we can. Another option is to bend left leg and bring that your left foot toward your right hip. And that being said, we want the heels to be fairly close to in the same plane. So for me, the bottom heel will always come in close, but not so much for that top foot. So I walk that bottom one out a little bit to get better alignment. And then letting the knees stack as best they will. Taking our strap, let it hang over the shoulders. So the arm that corresponds with your top leg is the one that's going toward the sky. Inhale, reach it up. Bend the elbow, keeping the bicep, tricep as close to the head as you can without dumping the head. You're going to grab your strap. Opposite arm reaches out. Thumb is down. Thumb is down. Wrap it up the small of the back. As you do, your palm will be turned out, away from the body. So your left elbow will reach down toward earth. Your right elbow will reach up. Sit tall here. Come into your breath. The eyes can remain open, softly downcast, or closed. I do encourage the closing if that feels right in your body, in your heart, and emotions, so that you get that inward focus. Coming back to awareness of breath. Remember to release if there are any sharp stabbing or burning sensations or discomfort. And you may stay here or hinge from hips again and come into a fold. Maybe even guide chin toward chest to get a deeper stretch through the back of the neck. Easy jaw. Unfurl the brow. And breathe. And with your next inhale, bring the torso up. Reach your right arm skyward. Bring it down. Release your left arm. Wiggle that out. keep this close by. Pick up top leg, give it a little cradle. And this time we are moving into, we're going to come back to second side in a minute, into a little rotation. So plant the foot, grow tall, rotate away from the foot, hips stay square. And as you come into this rotation, so I don't need this pillow under me for this, let the chin intentionally reach toward that back shoulder, really guiding it toward your right shoulder. Your right arm is soft and relaxed. If the hand doesn't rest on the floor, it doesn't rest, on the floor as such, you can use props, whatever height you need to bring the floor to you. But we still, do not want the shoulder up at the ear. We want it down. And then we'll inhale back through the center, unwind the legs, give them a little wiggle, roll the ankles, point and flex, and wiggle toes. Taking second side, grab my little pillow to the edge of the sitting bones. Bending and bringing your left knee in and across. Again, you can take just the one side using your prop. That helps to get the hip down, the glutes down if it's popping up. Option to bring that opposite heel in and having our heels fairly close in the same plane. Sitting up nice and tall, we are moving our left arm skyward. Bend the elbow, keeping the arm in close, elbow toward the sky. Opposite arm, right arm out, thumb is down. Wrap it up the small of the back to capture. And for some of us, the fingers may actually connect. There may be that range of motion. And if so, feel free to take it. Some of us may need the assistance of a strap of some kind. So sitting up tall, guiding your left elbow downward, your right elbow downward, your left elbow skyward. Coming back to breath. Release your brow and your jaw. Stay tall or hinge from hips. And last 5 breaths. After your 5th breath, gently release the bottom arm, top arm, bring them down, Wiggle it out. Move through the neck. And then we're moving into our rotation. So bringing the bottom leg out or keep it in, your choice, but the foot goes flat here. It's not on the edge. Sit up tall, rotate, and you can hold the opposite leg with your hand, your elbow, your tricep, whatever works for you. Guide your chin toward the back with your shoulder. Three more breaths. After your third breath, inhale to center and lengthen the legs. Curl them out. Wiggle it out. All right. We're moving into let's take a moment in easy seat, so just a traditional seated position. If you have lotus or anything else you'd rather take, you might do that. Let's give a little stretch through our neck, and then we'll take it into Shavasana. So sitting tall, exhale, chin toward chest. Move the jaw side to side, open and close. Stick out the tongue. Inhale, bring the head up and continue to extend. So again, we're reaching down into our sitting bones, lengthening up the spine. Keep the shoulders down and wide, bringing the chin up wherever that feels right for you. Not letting the shoulders crawl up, but keeping them down. Breathing into our throat. Trusting our intuition and speaking our truth with kindness and grace. And inhale, bringing the chin parallel to earth. Guide right ear to right shoulder, lengthening the left side of the neck. You might even reach the left fingertips out to create a longer span of release. With an exhale, move the chin toward the chest, roll around, guiding your right ear to your right shoulder, lengthening left side. And you might take the fingers to the earth, creating length through the arm and the neck. Easy jaw, soft face. And with your next exhale, guiding the chin toward the chest, letting the arms release, maybe turn the palms up, and letting the head fall to the chest. Inhale to bring the head up. Good. Shrug and drop the shoulders. 2 more. Wiggle that out. All right. Roll your wrist, wiggle your fingers. I'm going to offer you a mudra, and then we'll take it down for Shavasana. Little figure 4 in Shavasana before we settle into stillness. I remember the one I want. There it is. Hridaya, Hridaya. Hridaya. This is the gesture of the spiritual heart, and it is very soothing, healing for us as a whole. And it's something that's readily available to us, right? So we take right hand and gently place it over the heart and leave a small space between your hand and the chest, right? So you're not pressing it flat, just softly there. So there's a small space between the hand and the chest. Let the left hand rest on top. Fingers are closed, just like as if you were holding your heart. This is a mudra that we can use anytime we're seeking the support of the divine in our challenging times. But it's also wonderful for releasing tension from the chest. Supports the health of the immune system and cultivates trust and emotional balance. Feel the breath as it arrives. Notice how the chest lifts and lowers. Direct your breath and awareness to your upper chest, to the sternum. Notice how the breath creates a massaging effect, increases circulation, nurturing and soothing, bringing healing to the thymus gland, which sits right on the sternum over the heart. Just taking a moment to hold our heart space can help us to develop trust, feel more stable during challenging times. I'll repeat the mantra 3 times, and if it resonates with you, feel free to repeat it to yourself. As I open to grace in challenging times, I receive the full support of the divine. As I open to grace in challenging times, I receive full support of the divine. As I open to grace in challenging times, I receive the full support of the divine. And guiding the palms to touch, a little rubbing of the palms, squeezing of the hands, and open and closing through the fingers, wiggle them out through the wrists, and bend your knees to draw the body down for Shavasana. So as you roll the body down, take a moment to wiggle and move anything that needs some attention. You can always take a prop under your knees if you would like. Lift the legs. Bring a little ease. For some of us, that feels good for the low back. For others, it may not. Arms are long beside you, but they don't need to touch the body. They go out wide. Palms down to feel more grounded. Palms up to feel a little release and free. Maybe there's a little something else you'd like to let go of. You can just take the palms upward to facilitate the release. And stay centered. And eyes softly downcast or close if you're comfortable with that. Shavasana is our final pose. It's an opportunity to integrate our practice, to really allow it to settle in as we come into that stillness. If it feels better, you can keep the knees bent, maybe walk the feet wide, guiding the knees toward each other, letting them rest. Coming into this constructive rest versus a full Shavasana. You can always guide the hands back onto the heart, or one on the heart and one on the abdomen. Just finding what feels best for you. Feel the whole back body as it rests and is cradled by the earth. And notice the sensation of air and clothing on skin. Sense the whole right side of body. Feel whole left side of body. Become aware of your heart space. Notice your heart beating just for you. Now bring awareness to your lips and feel the top lip, the bottom lip, the space between your lips, inside your lips, tip of tongue, top of tongue, inner cheeks, back of mouth. Sense the energy swirling and vibrating within your whole mouth. Whole mouth. Feel whole body. Notice whole body. Observe whole body. Now use the mind's eye to see fingers and toes moving. See it first. Now physically begin to move fingers, move toes, the ankles, and the wrists. As you're ready, float the body over onto one side. Guide the knees up toward your chest in fetal position. You may choose to stay there or softly press to seated. And inhale, arms rise. Fill your arms, heart, and mind with love, kindness, and grace for yourself. With the exhale, guide hands to heart. Share love, kindness, and grace with others. We are all priceless. Namaste. And Meowmaste. Thanks so much for stopping by, for making your health a priority, and for sharing your time with us. We are honored to be a part of your yoga life and experience. There's Phoebe. Snuggles, I can hear him off eating. But thanks again. We'll see you again next time. Take care. Bye-bye.